Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I would like to welcome you all back to our distance learning program in Islamic finance and Islamic economics. This is now our 16th program. It's going to be inshallah on intermediate Islamic economics, and we start the first lecture inshallah with Professor Shabra. Inshallah it's going to be on the title of what is Islamic economics. I leave the microphone to Shabra now.
Shall I move? Okay. So the first question that arises is what is Islamic economics? In Islamic economics, its purpose is like any other science to find out the cause and effect relationship between different variables. So this is, of course, here it may seem that there is no difference between Islamic economics and any other discipline in economics.
Excuse me, sir. Assalamu alaikum. From Islamabad. The sound system is very defective. We can't listen clearly.
Yes? Shall I make it? I can come.
How about now? Is it better?
Hello? Hello, is it better now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is now better.
Okay, thank you. So the first question that arises in our minds is about the nature of Islamic economics. Islamic economics, like any other economic discipline, is a science. Its purpose is to find out the cause and effect relationship between different variables. Now this is what science normally does. It establishes the relationship between variables. If A, then B. If C, then D. In other words, one is a cause and the other is an effect. So the purpose of science is to establish the relationship between cause and effect. Like in physics, say if you heat anything made of iron, it will expand. So the heat is the cause and the expansion is the effect. So this is what science always tries to do through experiments. But in the field of social sciences, this is not possible. But even in social sciences, there is a method. And this method is to establish the relationship rationally and, if possible, empirically. So at least logically we have to be able to explain that what we are saying is right. This is what is called method or methodology in economics. Methodology or method refers to the way in which you try to convince other people about the statement that you have made. So whatever say in economics, like say take for instance, if price rises, demand falls. The rise in price is the cause and the decline in demand is the effect. So this is what generally science tries to do, to establish the relationship between cause and effect. And Islamic economics in this respect is not different. And this, there is nothing wrong in this. From an Islamic perspective, the Quran itself has indicated the validity and value of this thing. For instance, there is an ayah in the Quran, قَالَ رَبِّ أَرِنِي كَيْفَ تُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam tells God, show me how you will make the dead alive again. The God says, أَوَلَمْ تُؤْمِن, don't you believe? The reply he gives is, قَالَ بَلَا, yes, I do believe. وَلَكِنْ لِيَطْمَئِنَّ قَلْبِي, so as to convince my heart. In other words, if you know why a certain thing is done, then you believe it better. So the cause and effect relationship is established by science. This is what actually science has to do. In other words, there is a method in science. In other words, you just cannot say something and move away. If A, then B, you say and then move away. No, this cannot be done in science. You have to establish this. And this is what is called methodology or method in economics or any other science. There has to be some way by which you can prove that what you are saying is right. That if A, then B. So this is where science differs from other ways of doing things. Like, for instance, magic. You wave a wand and something will happen. Or like superstition, if you, in America for instance, if you live on the 13th floor of a hotel, something is wrong is going to happen to you. So now, I mean, you might think that in America people are not superstitious, but there is superstition there. So people generally don't want to live on the 13th floor. So if you go to a hotel, there will be no 13th floor there. From the 12th floor, it will go to the 14th floor. But the 14th floor actually is 13th floor. So if somebody lives on 14th floor, what difference does it make? Actually it is 13th. So this is what is superstition, magic, moving a wand at a stick and getting a certain result, or mantra. Somebody in India recites a mantra and something happens. This is not science. Science, you make a statement and then you establish it through some scientific method and the methodology. So in economics, we make, whether it is Islamic economics or conventional economics, we make a statement, and when we establish it through either rationally or empirically. In social sciences, it is not possible to have a laboratory experiment. Some people in economics are trying to do this now, but generally the method used all along has been either rational argument. You try to establish logically, rationally what you are saying, or else empirically. You look at the events around the world or around you and try to show that, see, if A, then B. When A happened, B also happened afterwards. Sometimes, of course, there is a problem. A and B may take place, but B may not necessarily the effect of A. But this is where you have to argue that this is not just a relationship that has happened by chance, but it is a cause and effect relationship. This is not an easy thing to do, but anyway, people try to argue. So science tries to establish the cause and effect relationship, and the purpose behind this is to have mastery over the physical universe through the cause and effect relationship. You try to have a control over things. If you know the cause, you will know the effect. And if you want to get a certain effect, you will have to create the cause of it. This is very validly accepted in religion, even though the purpose of religion is different. Religion really stands for reform of the human being and the institutions that affect his life. But when you talk of the reform of the human being and the institutions that affect his life, then one of the things is science. Of course, things happen around us that affect our life, and we want to know what causes them. If there is a storm which creates a great deal of havoc and destruction, you want to know the cause of it. And if you know the cause of it, you may try to control this cause so there is no storm. If somebody has fever, you want to know the cause of it, and if you know the cause, then you can try to control the fever and cure the person. So this is the cause and effect relationship that science tries to establish, and this is a part of religion. Religion, of course, ultimately wants to make our lives better, and science has to be a part of it. Of course, to do things rightly and not something. Science without the moral teachings of religion may try to create more and more ways of destruction, like the atomic bomb or other things of this kind. But religion, of course, does not stand for destruction or killing of people, and so the science in religion will be science that is used for the purpose of making human life better and happier. So the purpose of religion stated in the Quran itself is وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have sent you as a blessing for mankind. So the purpose of science in Islamic economics would be to be a blessing for mankind, to improve the life of people and to increase their well-being. What is the purpose of conventional economics? Of course, in ultimate reality, it may actually not be different, but we are talking about this purpose which is stated in scientific writings. Positivists and operationalists like Samuelson say the purpose of science is description. You describe the reality around you. And description in this sense means that if this happens, this will also happen. Logical empirists like Caldwell say that the purpose of science is explanation, to explain, and this is actually not different from description, because you explain that if this happens, then this will follow suit, or because this has happened, the cause of this is probably this. According to instrumentalists like Friedman, the purpose is to predict. You want to be able to predict when a certain thing is going to happen. And therefore you establish the cause and effect relationship to be able to predict. And prediction therefore is emphasized by Friedman. McCloskey says that the purpose of science is to persuade. But this is not different from either explanation and prediction, because it may not be possible to persuade anyone without a convincing explanation and reliable prediction. So essentially what they are all talking is the same thing, only using different language. So it's just a matter of semantics. Ultimately, there is not much of a difference. But one thing that science, the conventional science, has, which Islamic economics does not have, Islamic science does not have, is they abstain from making value judgments. Generally, science is supposed to be value neutral. You don't make value judgments. This is something which is not there in Islamic science. It doesn't try to abstain from value judgments. Wherever a value judgment is necessary, a scientist has to take it. He cannot be a mere a person who just watches